Hey guys, Lex here, back for some more of the Great Ace Attorney. Last time we were able to extend the trial to do some more investigations, so let's continue. 23rd of October, 2:41 p.m., Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Hey, Susato's back.
Oh, this room. It's been too long. It hasn't changed in the slightest, though. It's been some 6 months, hasn't it? That's a long time for things to stay so familiar.
I don't know when you might return, and I wanted everything to be as you left it. But it has been some 6 months, it's true.
So, is your father alright, Susie? What happened? My father?
Yes, Professor Mekatopa. I mean, it was half a year ago, but that's why he went back to Japan. Because of a telegram he received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some unknown reason.
That's right. So I was surprised to learn that you'd be coming back so soon. Surprised but happy. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you. That it was all a trick. My father's in fine health. I'm obviously very relieved about that.
Well, we're all delighted to have you back.
It's quite by accident that I've been able to return to Europe, actually. Because of a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium.
International Forensic? That's the same symposium Lord Strongheart mentioned.
Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh!
You must tell us everything that happened while you were back in Japan.
Yes, of course, I shall.
And there's one other thing. Something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About you know who? About Kazuma.
I know. I'll tell you all that I can.
Before that, let's examine everything. With Susato here. Thinking back, that spade's been in here since we first moved in, hasn't it?
Sure, I've told you before, Mr. Naruhodo. It's not a spade. It's a shovel.
Yeah. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. That is for digging.
No, spades are for digging.
No, spades are for scooping.
That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel.
Oh my god, the great spade shovel war rages on. No, this is a shovel, and it's for digging.
You have water gently boiling on the stove, I see.
Feels wrong somehow if I can't hear the water bubbling away. We have plenty of logs. It's not like we have to worry about paying for gas.
It's important to open the window for fresh air when the fire's burning, though. Can't keep it closed just because it's cold outside. It could be a matter of life and death.
Avoiding the freezing winter air is a matter of life and death too, if you ask me.
Oh well, perhaps a nice cup of tea will warm you up later. Oh, I'm so looking forward to making you some tea again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Which you'd think I wouldn't like, given that I'm not too keen on bitter flavors, but it's Susato-san's tea. It's amazing what a little cake or something on the side can do.
I would love to serve you some sort of Japanese sweet alongside your matcha green tea. But I suppose that's simply not possible given how long we've been staying here in London.
Well, I do like little chocolates you put in with my tea. They go wonderfully.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, you would, wouldn't you?
That gives me a warm glow inside for some reason. You see, I've been keeping my desk beautifully covered in papers, as always.
You really must tidy it all up, Mr. Naruhodo. No more excuses.
But Mrs. Sato, the way I see it, all these papers building up on my desk like this, a reminder of my woefully diverse daily life. I like to leave them as they are, so I never forget how lucky I am to have such varied experiences.
In that case, you should definitely have a thorough tidy. Then you'll be able to see your papers building up all over again and feel the joy renewed.
Still can't beat her in an argument, even though I'm the lawyer in here. Naruhodo.
You see, your time was still only has one eye filled in.
Well, we agreed that it's something we'd do together, didn't we? You can do it right now if you like. I'd be happy with that.
I like the anticipation, I think, Mr. Naruhodo.
I left your desk completely untouched, Mrs. Sato, so it would be ready for you whenever you return.
It's beautifully clean. There isn't a speck of dust on it anywhere. I've been cleaning in my absence, Mr. Naruhodo. Whatever next?
Well, I couldn't allow my great assistant's desk to sit there gathering dust, could I?
It really is exactly as it was when I left. I'm so touched. But sadly, your desk is also exactly as it was too.
Well, that's how it should be after all.
Oh dear. I'd forgotten how that clean-cut smile can be so disarming. Oh god! I'm so pleased to see all our sea creatures doing so well in the aquarium.
Yes, the prawns are still swimming and the anemones are still swaying. Obviously, I've been looking after them carefully. At first I used to drool whenever I looked at those juicy prawns, but not anymore. I'm like part of the family now.
I don't suppose they'll ever know how close they were to meeting their maker.
And door? The room through here should be exactly as you left it. I've still never been inside. I've never been invited.
Of course not. Only Iris is allowed in my room.
No doubt I'll be hearing you two giggling away in there again then. And Iris.
Must be about a year now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. I called it Hound of the Baskervilles.
But then Mr. Sholmes forbade you from publishing it, and put the manuscript somewhere nobody could get their hands on it.
So nobody knows anything about it apart from Hurley and I. But for some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie? Oh, it sounds so exciting. Hounds of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. And you wouldn't tell me how you come to know it. Yes, but I made you a promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? I think it's time. Oh! Oh! I'm only sorry I've had to keep this from you for so long, Iris.
Oh. From her dad?
It was completely by accident I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning Father's study and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, "The Hound of the Baskervilles."
What?
My Baskerville story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time, but Father came in and...
Susato, what are you doing?
Oh, Father.
Did you look at those papers?
No, I simply read the label, that's all.
Well, put it out of your mind.
Sorry?
Forget that you ever saw it, and certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand?
Oh, I forgot that I said that.
But what was Iris's manuscript doing in Japan?
I have no idea. But when I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed. It was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Sholmes' exploits. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions. There was no sign of the big box in his office. That's really all I know about it. No doubt that Father was very good reasoning for being so secretive about it, but still. I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie.
Oh, I can go actually talk to Susato. Oh god, it's a lot. Back in Britain.
When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. But curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely.
That awful trial? Oh yes. The murder of Giselle Brett.
Oh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie? Oh, well, yes. Since women are forbidden in the courtroom, I had no choice. Wow, amazing! I wish I'd seen it. Don't you, Runo?
Yes, I suppose so.
I want to play it being a lawyer now. Give her a false mustache, maybe.
I don't think any mustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. There's something else I've been wanting to ask you, Miss Susato. It's about the real reason why Professor Mikitobo summoned you back to Japan. You said in your letter that it was something to do with that convex loot we found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
That's right, the very large dog collar I found with the B emblem on it. It seems Mr. Natsume included a drawing of the collar in the report that he submitted about the time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet.
Why would that be then?
Father came to Britain himself, of course. To study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. But if he refuses to tell me what it was, then I intend to find out answers for myself. I've decided that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie!
That's a very meaningful look Susato-san's giving Iris there. Lord Strongheart mentioned something about this symposium too. I think he said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries would attend.
Yes, and from Japan, my father and Judge Chikogu have been invited. Something of an honor, I believe.
Well, Professor Mikitoba is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country after all. But who's the other person you mentioned? A judge, did you say?
Yes, His Excellency Judge Seishiro Chikoku. You've met him, Mr. Naruhodo. Last year, in the Supreme Court. Can't possibly have forgotten. That terrible trial of yours, when you were accused of murder.
Ah, yes, I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days.
Well, it was Judge Chikogu who presided over that trial.
If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy never to see that man's face again in my life.
Oh, well, anyway, his father was invited to the symposium. He agreed to me returning to Britain too. He won't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I pleaded with him, and in the end he agreed to me going on ahead.
Yes, about the symposium. It seems as though Lord Strongheart has put an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important.
I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Strongheart organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General.
The most senior position in the British justice system.
He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. That's what Father said anyway. Apparently it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition.
Does Professor Mikitoba know Lord Strongheart personally then, I wonder? Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech all about this very subject only yesterday. I sort of lost the will to live early on. I didn't really listen to much of it.
I'm trying for you.
Zale Brett, the woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, Giselle Brett, that's a name I won't forget as long as I live.
The extraordinary thing is, though, it seems it's a name we should all forget.
Sorry?
Since the incident, our government's intelligence services have been investigating Miss Brett. But it turns out that an Englishwoman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist.
Didn't exist? But how can that be?
It was a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin. She wasn't a visiting student either, that was her front.
Oh. Shin. A Shin, I think. Front? Who on earth was she then?
Miss A. Shin. Her name is literally all our intelligence services have been able to ascertain about her.
Yeah, A Shin.
Nobody knows why or even how she came to be in Japan. It's a complete mystery.
But that makes no sense. It's no easy task to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What could that woman been up to?
I'm afraid I really don't know. The only thing we could be sure of, she had some business in our country that we don't yet understand.
And now she's been killed. While all the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered.
Afraid so.
Shin, who on earth was she? Why do I feel as though I've heard that name before somewhere in a Morse code message? Like when we last saw you.
After my friend Ray's trial, the reporter who actually killed Miss Brett said something very strange.
I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on in that visiting student's fate. Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know about that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that it'll never.
Obviously, I couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time. But later, I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Kazuma-sama.
What did you learn?
After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body should have been unladed at the port of Hong Kong and passed into the care of consulate staff there.
Should have been?
Turns out that his body never arrived. It just disappeared.
What? Kazuma's body vanished?
The government tried to cover the fact up, it seems. They erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown. Except Kazuma-sama isn't there.
Oh, I guess that was right. Did the Professor Mikitoba know about this?
Yes, it would seem that he did, but he didn't tell me. They're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak.
I just don't believe it. What is this acute feeling of apprehension I have all of a sudden? Thinking back now, some of the things that happened on the SS Puria were definitely strange. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? Could it be? Could it be that he's actually still alive?
Stop it, Mr. Naruhodo. It's too much to bear.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Just thinking about the possibility pains me so very much. Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. When Kazuma-sama was discovered, Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he?
Huh?
And he definitely examined the body, if I remember it clearly.
Ah, you're right. So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it would mean that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us.
There's no reason why he would possibly have done such a thing.
I suppose that's true, yes.
The idea that he might still be alive somewhere. It wants to fill me with hope, but I can't let it, because if it turned out not to be true, then I'd be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. I'm terrified of what that might do to me.
Oh, Mrs. Sato. I know she's given the idea the thought it deserves. It's Sato's son we're talking about after all. I probably shouldn't push it now. If that's true, then my snake voice isn't cursed at all.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. Committed every detail about the case to memory. And Iris told me about the disturbing happenings at the Waxwork Museum as well.
So you're fully abreast of the situation already, Mrs. Sato. I expect nothing less, to be honest.
I would think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Drebber, the engineer responsible for building the elaborate machine that was used to effect the extraordinary trick.
Yes, a conjurer of sorts, by the sound of it. Well known in the fields of science and magic.
Then we need to go and arrest him.
Well, yes. We must know the truth behind this case, so I agree we really do need to find the man. I mean, the police should be the one doing that.
Sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down. It's a job for the police, or a great detective.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Are we supposed to guess who she might be thinking of? We don't have much time, so we need to get started straight away, I think.
Good idea. Well, best of luck then.
Oh, you're not coming today?
Going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. But let me know later how you get on, won't you?
Oh. That was a little abrupt. The pull of the herb market must be strong. Damn, it's already 20 minutes. Let's go to Sholmes Suite and read every single thing again. October 23rd, Sholmes Suite. Okay, I'm only gonna examine this for the achievement. This blackboard is where Iris scrolls down her latest ideas, isn't it? Let's see. Oh, she seems to have drawn a little stick figures all lined up. Look.
Cheap apples at the market is what all of them say.
What? The little figures can speak?
All your questions would be answered if only you would read this month's Rants magazine.
So I'm the only one who can't make any sense of this. Oh shit, I got the achievement. I don't have to read this anymore. Okay, the Herlockian. I don't know, I thought about ending the episode early, but I'll just read all this.
That's Iris's wonderful collection of medicines, potions, and chemicals. Let's look at the little bottles she squeezed onto the shelves.
Yes, and there are charming little ribbons tied around the bottles too. But the labels aren't quite charming, are they? This one reads Deadly Poison.
Oh, I've been so excited about you helping Iris with her experience, you know.
Just try to avoid any bottles labeled Deadly Poison or Highly Explosive. If I remember correctly, this large and imposing lump of iron is called a typewriter.
To think that every single one of the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes blossomed from this very machine. It's such a dreamy thought.
I actually had to go on it the other day. The metal bars that moved when you hit the keys got all tangled up somehow, and that made Iris angry.
Mr. Naruhodo, you're ruining my dreamy thoughts. Don't do that again.
No, I made Susato and my son angry as well. Look at this. Iris's pretty little tea set is set out beautifully as ever, look.
Well, it's only by carefully taking care of the tea set that you can make good tea.
Is that a roundabout way of telling me I need to tidy my desk?
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, you do overthink things at times.
Ah, yes, Mr. Sholmes' curious collection of trinkets from the various mysteries you solved.
It's one of my favorite parts of this room, full of items with such exciting tales to tell. I do believe he's added to it since I last looked. Now there's a mysterious Prince Nez, and a mysterious little box, a mysterious horseshoe, and a mysterious biscuit.
I think that last one might be just one of Iris's unfinished snacks. My eye is always drawn to this big metal chest that Mr. Sholmes and Iris used as a coffee table.
Isn't it where Iris keeps her very important papers?
It is, so you'd think they'd treat it with more care, really. But only the other day I saw Mr. Sholmes kick it.
Oh no!
I suppose something must have been frustrating.
What a shame to mistreat the furniture, though. Was it damaged?
The chest was fine, but Mr. Sholmes was doubled up in the floor for almost 10 minutes.
Oh dear, that is a painful tale.
I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although I do yearn for a Japanese kotatsu, putting your legs under a warm blanketed table is so comforting.
Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't mistakenly put your feet in the fire, will you? You'd suffer terrible burns, you know.
I think she said that already. I worry sometimes how Susato's-san sees me. I think I read that already. This is Mr. Sholmes' famous violin, the one he found being sold for a song at a pawnbrokery. What was it called again? Showed us something?
Oh yes, this wonderful instrument features the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. It's world famous Stradivarius.
What? said that.
Stradivarius, Mr. Naruhodo.
Stragivore.
You even try now.
We'll come back to this another time, I think. Pretty sure I read that already. And I said it just like that. There are all sorts of these shelves, chemistry apparatuses, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help feeling a whole lot is going to topple at any moment.
It looks like it might topple, and yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Sholmes' brilliance.
I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally gave way under the strain, though.
Looks as though it might topple, and it does. Yes, the epitome of your disarray.
I really don't get it. I don't remember that part. Finally managed to remember the behemoth's name. It's a great analytoscope.
I don't think it was here when I left for Japan, was it?
Oh, is that right?
Yes, because it was with the pawnbroker.
Ah, of course. Well, this is new.
Oh, that's given me a wonderful idea. You pawn everything that's on your desk. The office would be tidy at last.
Don't even joke about it, Mr. Susato. You are joking, aren't you?
No.
Cool. Actually, let's go to Lord Chief Justice's office. Kill some more time. In case. Oh, there's a person there. Oh, shit. Who the hell is that? 23rd of October, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Oh, who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart?
I wonder. Never seen her before.
Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result. Oh, no problem. You mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment? Sham science being demonstrated at London's Great Exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish, and now politicians are scrambling to respond. Lord Van Zieks is in the Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing. Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble. None of this was your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having been taken in. A special dispensation that prevents investigation at this scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, my forensic investigation team will move in and deal with that scrap metal in no time. Scrap metal now, isn't it?
Ada, Lord Strongheart.
Yes, thank you. Damn. Who was that? That was Dr. Courtney South, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. She's leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. She was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact. Oh, I see. About Mr. Asman? Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to re-evaluate its findings. It's not him. I don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you'll have to ask her directly. You could find her in the forensics laboratory. Ah, right. Now, what were you here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time. He's not running quite so spectacularly late anymore. So if I just stand here for 7 minutes, I'll only examine everything. Just sitting behind a desk must make you feel so important, don't you think?
I'd like to have an office like this, Mr. Naruhodo, with such a grand desk.
Who, me? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't like it facing, with my back facing the sun. Or towards the sun. Whatever.
Oh.
Well, imagine if you suddenly found yourself needing a toilet. You'd have to go so far to go. Just like at work.
Oh, true. Perhaps important people who work in ostentatious offices like this haven't considered such things.
I'm going to have to take that as a compliment. And armor. these very European suits and armor are still glaring at each other across the carpet, I see. Anyway, they feel like guardians of Lord Chief Justice's office.
I suppose they're rather like lion dogs that guard shrines in Japan, aren't they?
Aren't they a bit too human to be called lion dogs?
Did you know that it's a dream of mine to keep 2 cats one day?
I feel as though we've gone off on a bit of a tangent, don't you think? And let's look at the bookshelves. You couldn't read all these books even if you were reincarnated 6 times over as a bookmark, because they can't read. Can Lord Strongheart really read all of these?
Thinking about it, Father's study is full of books that look as though they've never been read too.
Oh really?
Peddlers of books are forever pushing their wares on him, you see. I think he's just too kind-hearted to refuse them.
There's a phrase for that in Britain. People would say that they saw him coming.
Makes me wonder if perhaps the vast number of books on the shelves in here are a sign of Lord Strongheart's overwhelming kind-heartedness.
I'm not so sure you could afford to have that kind heart if you had to keep Lord Van Zieks in line, could you? I don't know if I read that right. As ever, the enormous clock is diligently maintaining its rhythmical tick-tock today.
Watching the machinery at work can be quite mesmerizing, can it? Ironically, you can completely forget the time. What I particularly enjoy is watching the enormous wheels of steam locomotive turning. When I was a little girl, Grandmother used to take me to watch the railway engines, you know.
It's an open fire for me. I could sit and watch the flames for hours.
Mr. Naruhodo, we could install one in the office. An enormous wheel, turned by an enormous steam engine.
Perhaps we could start with a simple fireplace? Just in case. Nothing cool. Yeah, I need to kill time. Forensic investigation team. What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before? The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, unofficially of course, to pave the way.
Goodness, a year ago?
At next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensic division. Once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly. What do you mean? For too long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. But London scum is about to be rounded up and burnt in the fires of hell. Yeah, I intend to see it personally. Yeah, by creating the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future. Look at those eyes. He means every word. Dr. Scythe is an extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the forensic division at Scotland Yard, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Makotoba.
Oh, yes, my lord?
Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way to represent the Empire of Japan.
Yes, that's right. I understand you'll arrive at the beginning of next month.
Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart? With Professor Makotoba, I mean. It was many years ago now, but yes, I remember Dr. Makotoba very well.
Oh.
If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student.
It was the year I was born. So, 16 years ago, in fact.
Makotoba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Chikoru accompanied him as a young, promising judge. The punctiliousness and politeness of Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply politeness or carelessness on your part in any way. I didn't think that you were. Dr. Makadoba studied forensics at one of London's large hospitals. St. Sinner's, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Scythe is also there, then, as it happens.
And Dr. Scythe knows my father, does she?
She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I've no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Makadobo was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total. 6 years, that's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it?
I lived with my grandmother in those years.
So he left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years?
It's a rather turbulent time at home.
Oh,
Perhaps father wanted a reason to get away.
what do you mean? Why? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. It was Van Zeeks. I wanted to ask you about Lord Van Zeeks, actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as the Professor who targeted nobles and royalty, is that right? You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. Then you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper. What? Why? When his brother Clint Van Zeeks was murdered, just after young Barak had graduated from the University of London and became a prosecutor, when obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing, rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that wherever Barak Van Zeeks went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind.
Oh my word.
So Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper? It's the ghost of his brother? Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circus. Oh yes, Lord Strongheart. Go ahead. It's about Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. I'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible. Are you well versed in science then? Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently. Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Scythe's team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing. Thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing.
I'll be able to see it too.
Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls. I think that was more than 7 minutes.
We are extremely sorry to have troubled you when you were so busy, my lord.
I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium, you understand. Cool. Where should we go next? Well, let's go to prison. We have time. Holy shit, what did you do? 23rd of October. Local prison, cell number 11? Oh, that's different. What's he doing?
Jeez, oh my, the whole hall of the cell's covered in mathematical equations.
He's still writing more now. Professor, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, and who's this young lady? My name is Susato Mikadoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. Oh, if only I'd a refined young woman like you sooner, none of this would have happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all. Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you.
I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning.
Oh no, 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 no. The whole thing, the whole miserable affair. It all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot. Professor Hairbrain, what have you been working on in yourself? Oh, you mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see, and I simply had to write it down. The wall is all I had to hand. Oh, is that your new hypothesis? Something that surpasses super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? Ah, no, actually. This is my autobiography. Your autobiography? How I was diddled and fiddled by Albert Hairbrain. I found I can represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations. Really? I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. So it's going to be a new serial publication from next month, Part 1, An Odd Birth, An Odd Upbringing. You can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. See, well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case? Oh, yes, of course. I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled, I was fiddled, by the pair of them. By Asmund, and by that aloof engineer Treba. We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of these equations, are we? This morning's trial. Everything I believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Asmund, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis, even... I'm sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference if you were aware of it or not. Correct. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. He believed in me this morning, you know. Barak did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case. No, Barak wouldn't do something like that. Sure, he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. Why it was that he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean. What was it? After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even. I feel like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there. So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, it was anyone other than Barak. I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor? Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Barak insisted that I was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he... I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it. And what about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? See? Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start? Sorry to say, that does seem likely, yes. When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused, he was so empathic.
But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems.
I still can't believe it. The machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic. Probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually.
But the scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception.
All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. We want to do our research, but we can't afford to do it. Many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try and earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. To go through all of that only to be taken for a complete fool, it's too rotten to believe.
It is, I agree. That's why we have to find those who are responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Asman is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer.
Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Is he an engineer or a magician or a swindler?
It was about a year ago when Mr. Asman first brought Miss Rubber to meet me in my laboratory. Since then, I've met him many times to discuss details about the Kinesis machine.
But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist?
Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist.
What do you mean?
He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation.
I see.
But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give us as to his whereabouts?
I'm sorry. We only ever discussed the Kinesis machine, nothing else. Although, just once, I did visit this workshop. What workshop? Drebber's enormous fabrication laboratory where he constructed my great machine.
Oh.
Why didn't you mention this before? In Drebber's workshop?
That's every chance we might find the man there.
So you've been to Drebber's place of work then?
Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place, plenty of room to construct the Kinesis machine, you see.
Where can we find it? We've got to go there at once. There's a good chance that we'll find Drebber there.
Well, yes, definitely. I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm sorry.
I was more than half expecting that.
You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there.
He blindfolded you? You wasn't taking any chances then.
The place was incredible, the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best, a special French machine oil that is impossible to obtain in Britain. The indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their scent formula and use that instead.
What do you think, Miss Susato? You the machine for your next birthday.
I never used any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo, and I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. Don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor? You don't have a business card from Mr. Drebber, for example?
The man was clearly very cautious, Mrs. Sato. I'm sure he would.
Aha! Yes, I do. He gave me his business card once. It's right here. Look.
What?
Let me see that.
Throw etiquette to the wind, why don't
you? Enoch Drebber, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address.
No, oh well, I can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. Drebber's card has been entered into the court record. Actually, let's take a look at it. Got $1, a plus sign. Oil. Dark smudge here.
think perhaps it's machine oil.
Ah, yes, possibly. Professor Hairbrain mentioned something about the oil Mr. Trevor uses, didn't he? He said it was specially important, very high-quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain.
Yes, that's right. More importantly, it's more fragrant than the finest perfume, so excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all.
Oh, right. I expect that's just because there's such a tiny amount on here. Maybe we'll see a dog. Okay. Oops. Now we could end the episode. I somehow added 30 minutes to that 20-minute episode I had earlier, but yeah. Alright, I'll think of an episode here, and then next time we'll go... Let's just go in order. Wait for my... Yeah, next time we'll go to experimentation stage. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. See ya. Bye.